Hi guys, my name's Crissy.
And I'm Rachel, and we're from the Chattanooga Public Library.
And today we are going to be doing a STEAM activity of kaleidoscopes. So Rachel, why don't you tell everybody what a kaleidoscope is?
I'd love to. So a kaleidoscope is a toy. It's a long cylindrical tube with two ends, and when you look through the eyepiece towards the other end, you will see a lot of symmetrical, colorful shapes because of the mirrors that are inside of the kaleidoscope.
That sounds super cool, and I'm so excited to make one today with stuff found around the house. So what we're going to do is go over our supplies, and then Rachel is going to lead us in the instructions. So I'm going to do the experiment alongside y'all. So we're going to go over the supplies, gather them up, and then come back and we will do our activity.
All right, so before we get started, let's go over the supplies that you're going to need. First off, you will need some kind of a tube with open ends, such as a paper towel roll, a toilet paper roll. You will also need cardboard, tinfoil, some kind of clear plastic. This can be from a clear soda bottle or old Tupperware with permission. You will also need construction paper, translucent beads and sequins. If you don't happen to have those around the house, I can tell you something else you can use later on. You will need something to trace with, such as a pencil or a pen, a ruler, glue and tape, a pair of scissors, and then anything you would like to decorate the outside of your kaleidoscope with, such as stickers, markers, whatever.
That's your time to get creative, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like I have all my supplies, so I think that I'm ready to go.
Sweet, let's get started. So we're going to start out by making our mirrors. The first things you'll need are your ruler, your tube, and your pieces of cardboard. So the first thing we're going to do is measure the length of the tube as well as the diameter of its opening.
Okay, so Rachel, can you explain what the length is and also what the diameter is? Just real fast.
Sure. The length is the amount from one end to the other. And the diameter is the length of the opening at the middle from one end to the other.
Okay. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure in inches. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like my tube is 11 inches. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper real fast and just write down what my different measurements are.
Cool. You're going to need that for later.
Perfect. Okay, there's that one. And then this is going to be my diameter, so from one end to the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I measured it and traced it. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler on this piece of paper. So it looks like my diameter is 1.75 inches. All right, so I have my length and my diameter. What's next?
So to make our mirrors, we need to cut out pieces of cardboard that are a 1/2 inch shorter than the length and a 1/4 inch shorter than the diameter.
Okay. So time for a little bit of math, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take my length, which is 11 inches, and then I'm going to subtract it by half an inch.
Yes.
Okay. So subtract by 0.5, which, Rachel, I'm going to let you check my math here.
Okay.
I believe it's going to be 10.5 inches.
Sounds right to me.
All right. And then my diameter, I'm going to subtract by half or quarter?
Of an inch.
Quarter of an inch. Okay, almost messed up there. Which is going to be 1.5 inches.
Yep.
All right, so here are my measurements. I am ready to go. What's next?
Awesome. You're going to want to mark out both of those measurements on your piece of cardboard.
So is it going to end up looking like a rectangle?
Yes. And we are going to need 3 of those rectangles.
3 of them. Okay, so I'm going to do this 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm thinking, it says 2 points make a line, right? So I've got one of those fully drawn out. So then I'm just going to use this one as a template to cut the other ones out. Sound like a plan? Okay, so I'm going to do that real fast. And do I go ahead and cut them out?
Yep.
Cool. Here we go.
So while we're all working on measuring and cutting out our cardboard, how about a little history lesson of the kaleidoscope? In the early 1800s, scientists were exploring the concepts of light and optics. So in an effort to share these concepts with the masses, scientists created devices known as philosophical toys. These toys were not only amusing to play with, but also allowed scientists to show off their efforts in improving technology. So enter Dr. David Brewster of Scotland. In 1816, Dr. Brewster was the first scientist to arrange mirrors and colorful objects inside of a tube and call it a kaleidoscope. Now you may be wondering where the name kaleidoscope comes from. The word kaleidoscope can be broken down into 3 ancient Greek words. Kalos, meaning beautiful, eidos, meaning form, and scopio, meaning to look at or examine. So when you put all 3 words together, it translates to observation of beautiful forms. This was exactly what Dr. Brewster intended for his philosophical toy. Dr. Brewster originally designed the toy to be used by artists and designers as a source of inspiration through the beautiful patterns and designs created inside the kaleidoscope. Luckily, his toy grew in popularity outside of the artistic community and now is used as a tool of inspiration for everybody to see the world in a much more beautiful way.
So there we go. And just a reminder, recycle your scraps. All right, what's next?
So tape your 3 pieces of cardboard along the long edges loosely.
Loosely.
Yes. You want to be able to bend them back and forth on each other because we're going to make them into a triangle.
Okay. So I've got really big tape. Is that going to be okay?
I think it should be. Just as long as the cardboard is able to bend.
Okay, so I have all 3 taped fairly close together. It might not be close enough, but we'll see.
It'll be an easy fix if they aren't close enough together. So what we're going to do next is take our tin foil and lay a piece out to cover the cardboard.
Okay.
You may want to trim the edges of the tape.
Good call. I'm gonna do that right now. Now, with the tin foil, do I want the dull side or the shiny side?
You want the shiny side up.
The shiny side? Like that?
Awesome. So we're going to glue, or if the tape already sticks, we're going to glue the shiny side of the tin foil up onto the cardboard. And this is what's creating our mirrors.
Perfect. So mine's kind of already taped down with my extra tape, but I'm going to still glue it down. Okay.
Awesome. So we are going to fold this into a triangle. So take the two outer pieces and fold them into each other so that the tin foil is on the inside of the triangle.
The inside, okay.
Very important.
And it's okay if there's like little pockets of air?
Yeah.
That's okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so all I did was take these two sides and bend them together.
Yep, and you're going to want to tape this side shut so that the whole thing stays closed.
Another piece of tape. I think I'm going to use my painter's tape because it's a little easier. Is that?
Nobody's going to see the tape or the back of the mirrors, so whatever you need to use is fine.
Yay!
Yay! So let's put our mirrors into our paper towel roll.
Okay.
It should fit very well into the middle of it.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Experiment. Okay. What next?
Let's create the eyepiece, the part that you're going to look through to the other side. So you're going to need your construction paper. And something to trace with.
Ready.
Yes. So trace the end of your paper towel roll or tube, whatever you're using, onto the construction paper.
Now, do I want because my paper towel, like the triangle, is really snug on this end, and then there's a bit of a gap on this end.
Mm-hmm.
So does it matter which one?
Well, the one with the gap is going to be what is called the object chamber of the kaleidoscope, and that is where we're going to put all of our colorful shapes and stuff in. It doesn't matter what end you trace, but the eyepiece is going to go on the opposite side of the object chamber.
Okay.
So just cut a small hole in the center, big enough for you to look through. Doesn't have to be a particular size, but.
Okay, so would the best way to go about this is to use my scissors?
Yes. If you fold the paper in half, you can cut out a small hole from the inside along the fold.
Having to be very careful with my scissors since they're big cutting this very tiny hole.
Yes.
Safety first. Okay. It's okay that it's a square.
Yeah. As long as you can see through it.
I see you.
Awesome. So now we're going to put that back on the side of our kaleidoscope that doesn't have the gap. And if it doesn't fit, you can always just tape it down to that side.
So, all right, so mine's nicely fitted in there. Now what?
So we're going to create the object chamber part of the kaleidoscope. And what we're going to need is our clear plastic and something to trace with. So again, we're going to want to trace a circle using one of the ends of the kaleidoscope as our reference. Carefully using our scissors, we're going to want to cut the circle out. All right. We will need to trim the circle just a little bit so that it fits snugly in the end of the tube.
I'm going to test mine out just to see how much it'll need to be cut down.
Smart. That's the smart thing to do. Because when I did this for the first time, I cut mine too small.
That's okay. Trial and error in science.
If at first you don't succeed,
try again. Yeah. Oop.
All right.
Okay. But do I need to put it in there yet?
Yes. You want to push that all the way against the mirrors. So this is the side that was a ½ inch shorter.
Okay.
So push that all the way in there.
Yep, it is all the way in there.
Awesome. And here's the fun part. Here's where we're going to take our beads and our sequins, or whatever you have, and pour them on top of the clear plastic.
Yay! Yay for color!
Yay! So I know I mentioned earlier that if you don't have colorful beads around your home, you can always take some of your leftover clear plastic and color on it with some kind of colored markers, and then cut that up carefully into little fun confetti-sized pieces, and then you can pour that in instead. The light will still get through, and you will still get some pretty cool, colorful shapes and designs when you look through it.
All right, so I have all of my beads and sequins in, so what now?
Well, we don't want them to fall out. So we need to create an end cap for our kaleidoscope. So we need to trace one more circle onto the clear plastic, and you can either do that beforehand, before you put all the beads in, or you can use the other end of the tube.
Okay. So I have mine cut out, but I have a feeling that I'm going to need to cut it smaller.
Yes. You'll probably need to trim it just a little bit so that it fits on the inside.
Okay, that fits. Do I push it like all the way down?
No, just at the top.
Just right at the top?
Yes, just right at the top. And if you want to make sure that it definitely does not pop off, you can go ahead and tape it down as well.
I think mine's going to be okay because it's extremely snug.
Good.
There we go. It's in there. Yay.
Awesome. It's done.
That's it?
That's it. Unless you want to decorate the outside with something cool. So this is your kaleidoscope.
So I could draw on this or put some stickers.
Yep. Color on.
Well, now that it's done, what do I do with it?
So you're going to take it so that you are holding the end with the eyepiece closest to you. And then you're going to look through the eyepiece, not directly into any source of light, but enough light should filter through the end with the plastic and the beads, and you should be able to see some pretty cool patterns inside on the mirrors.
Okay. I'm going to test it out.
Okay.
Whoa! That is really cool.
And hey, Crissy, guess what?
What?
When you turn it, the shapes inside change. Have you noticed?
That is very cool. Oh, and my sequins and beads are floating and changing and shifting, and so the different patterns are very cool. And I love the colors. That's awesome.
Would you like to know the science of why that happens, that the patterns change on the inside?
I would absolutely love to know the science. While you tell the science, I'm going to work on cutting out some different construction paper and decorate the outside.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. So guys, before Rachel gets into the science, I went ahead and turned off our other camera, but while she tells us all about the interesting science, I'm gonna work on decorating the outside of my kaleidoscope because I want it to be just as beautiful on the outside as it is on the inside. So Rachel, take it away.
Cool. So kaleidoscopes use light waves and reflection in order to create the amazing patterns that you will see on the inside. Light is not just what allows us to see, it is actually made up of light waves, which are moving sources of energy made up of microscopic particles called photons. Light waves are responsible for a lot of cool science developments and technology. If you've ever changed the channel on your TV with a remote control, that's a light wave communicating from the remote control to the TV what button you pressed. Pretty cool, right?
Super cool.
So the mirrors on the inside of a kaleidoscope are tilted at a certain angle so that the light waves reflect from one mirror to the other. Now, reflection of light is when a light wave bounces off of a barrier and changes direction. In this case, our barrier is our mirrors. So when you look in a mirror, for example, light waves hit the mirror and they reflect your image back at you. So in a kaleidoscope, when the light passes through the clear plastic of the object chamber and hits our colored beads are illuminated by the light waves. They continue down, well, the light waves continue down and reflect from one mirror to the other, bouncing off of the barriers, and reflections of the colored beads or objects are created and appear in the mirrors. This is what creates the cool symmetrical patterns that you see when you look through your kaleidoscope. And when you turn the kaleidoscope, the beads change and the light waves now have different things to bounce off of, and so the reflection changes in the mirrors, and that's what you see. Isn't that pretty cool?
That is the coolest science I have heard today. What I decided to do to remind myself of all these really cool science facts is I put some waves on the outside of my kaleidoscope to remind me of light waves.
Awesome. I love that.
All right, guys, so that is it. So thank you so much for joining us for making our kaleidoscopes. And I really hope that these help you see the world in a much more beautiful way. Thank you. Bye.